Welcome back to DevelopLex. Today's episode is a recording from our most recent event, the Downtown Deep Dive, presented by Dean Builds. This was a co-hosted event, and we talked through the ins and outs of Lexington's newest development, Gatton Park, which is set to open in August. Up on stage with me and Ross were some of the bigger decision makers that were involved in Gatton Park. And in the around 150 person audience were people that were both involved in the park, just involved in real estate, or just DevelopLex or Downtown Lexington Partnership people. And it was just a really cool event, just a melting pot of people that were just interested in the way that Lexington grows. So make sure to join us for the next Downtown Deep Dive or DevelopLex live event coming to you soon.
Good deal. Welcome, guys. We are so thankful you're here. And really excited to introduce you to the four gentlemen that are sitting next to us. So we have David Dean of Dean Builds, Ben Shaffer of the Gatton Park, Donald Miller, the newest Lexingtonian to town, and the new park director. Park director, is that? Park director. And Bishop Carter, the owner of Elaine Allen. So today's theme is all going to be what you're looking over to your left. The park that used to be called the Cox Street parking lot. You might remember that before this amphitheater, there was Red, White, and Boom about this time of year that would be hosting thousands of people, filling up what used to just be a blacktop lot. So through the discussion, we're going to be talking about what's to come, and excited to hear from each of the perspectives that y'all have contributed to the new fabric of Lexington.
Yeah, so we will start off maybe giving a little bit of backgrounds on the park. Do we want to do introductions? Yeah. So typically within the podcast, we kind of let guests introduce themselves, give a little bit of blurb on yourself, because we will leave something off if we don't do that. Also, can I get a round of applause for being inside? Yeah. Love that. I actually thought we were going to be outside today, so no, glad we're not. So I'll start off with David. David, if you could just give a 30-second blurb on you and a little bit of your involvement in the project, that'd be awesome, and then we'll get into questions.
All right. David Dean, I'm president of Dean Builds. We've been around since 2010. We're out of Lexington, Kentucky, and we're proud to be a part of the park with Bishop Carter and Elaine Allen. They've been our partner throughout this thing, and we're super excited for the opening day of August 23rd. Did I say that right? Good. You did. All right. Well. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Ben Shaffer. Everybody hear me? Is this thing on? All right. Ben Shaffer. I have the fancy title of Senior Director of Advancement for Gatton Park. I've been with the project now for 6 years, and what an honor to be a part of this project. And we'll share a little bit more about the history, but I want to thank DLP and Dean Builds, who have been integral and been a part of Gatton Park since the early days of this. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But as I look around the room, I see a lot of familiar faces, whether it's donors, stakeholders, people who are involved with community engagement, attended the first public unveilings of this, from Price giving me advice early on when I first was here over coffee. I hope everyone, when you look over there, that you're proud of what you all have helped us with. And just a few days from now, hopefully everyone will be at the grand opening and celebrating a little bit more.
My name is Donald Miller. I am the new park director for Gatton Park. I am on day 17 of my new role, and living in Austin, so I'm excited. Or Lexington, excuse me. I'm originally from Alabama, but I've been living 15 years in Austin, Texas. I have been working in parks and public spaces for the past 15 years, operationalizing the parks and programming parks spaces. So I'm really excited to come here and contribute kind of what I know to Gatton Park and help make it great and find out where Gatton Park's going to kind of fit in that ecosystem of great parks throughout the country.
Good afternoon, evening, everyone. My name is Bishop Carter. I'm the owner of Elaine Allen. We've been in business since 2017. It was a pleasure to partner up on the park with Dean Builds. I'm excited about the park and being a part of another landmark here in Lexington, Kentucky.
Cool. So Ben, Ben, 6 years ago, what did it look like before there was any sort of schematic design? What was the purpose that you were pitching?
Well, the history of this dates back about 10 years. And I know that's been one thing that we get a lot, in the last few years is this thing actually going to happen? Why is it taking so long? And if you look across the country, peer cities, aspirational cities that have at least one of these types of parks, again, that's a park conservancy. It's new to our community. This will be our first true park conservancy. And simply what that is that this park is overseen by a nonprofit organization. And so back 10 years ago, it was what you introduced it as a parking lot. So there's been a lot of, iterations and visions for this. As I think about Woodford Webb, saying hi to him, and Don Webb and Lake Lexington back in the late 80s. Apologies if I got my times off there. But there's been a lot of, conceptual thoughts that go into this. But what an unbelievable land reuse project that we hope spurs future land reuse projects. Whether it is an asphalt parking that's turned into this signature green space, or things like the High Line in New York, an old rail yard that's turned into the #1 attraction in all of New York. But specific to your answer, you can get on in Google and see those, the old viaduct, the old parking lot that's there. So to be able to do that and transform this into the green space, that's not just a green space. This is more than a park. This project, this park over time and already right now is going to impact the quality of life. It's a workforce development project. As we think about talent attraction, talent retention, having quality of life amenities like this impact that, right? The environmental impact that speaks for itself. I don't need to go into that, right? Community connectivity. One of the reasons I got involved and accepted this opportunity, in a former life I was fortunate to get to play some professional baseball, was living in Philadelphia. And so in the off seasons, I would go on warm days into the parks in downtown Philadelphia. And the people that I got to connect with that otherwise I would have never communicated with or met was all because of that green space, bringing people together. So we think about that. Health, right? This is going to be the downtown trailhead for biking and pedestrians to now our 22 contiguous mile loop. So it's more than just a park. But with some questions I know that are coming up about the excitement of what's going to go on, we'll further deliver that home.
SVN Stone Commercial Real Estate is a full-service commercial real estate firm located in Lexington, Kentucky. Affiliated with the SVN International Network, SVN has over 200 offices across the globe. The SVN Stone team consists of experienced commercial real estate advisors in the heart of the Bluegrass. SVN helps their clients with commercial property sales, leasing, investments, and property management. Let SVN help you with your commercial real estate needs. Check us out at svnstone.com.
Yeah, so you mentioned it kind of at the intro there. There are a lot of people in this room that had a lot to do with the park. Obviously, all of you all sitting up here as well. But it is a privately funded park, and there are people here that wanted it to happen. What do you feel like were some of the things that resonated most with people of Lexington that when you were kind of campaigning for getting the park going? What are some of the attributes of the park that really resonate with people?
Yeah, so you think about what we more or less kind of sold this is our version of Central Park. This is our Central Park, and I think whether you are a transplant from another community where you already have an existing park like this, we've all probably been fortunate to be able to travel to aspirational cities, peer cities, and you see these types of green spaces. I think about my son. When we went to Texas a few years ago, went to Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. At the time he was about 6 or 7. The thing that he loved more than anything else was the parks, the Gatton Parks in those communities. So I think the fact that people were like, wow, we have a once in a lifetime opportunity generationally to be able to come together and build our Central Park, something that you think about Central Park in New York, it's been around since the mid-1800s. So what you see over here, not to be morbid here, but has a chance to be way beyond all of our lifetimes. So this is true legacy. It's going to impact multiple generations. So I think all of that is really, what resonated. And the stage. Let's get real. It's a really cool stage.
Let's jump into the stage then. So, Bishop, what is behind the construction fence when you're looking at the stage, and what was your scope that you built?
Elaine Allen was responsible as general contractor for the entire amphitheater throughout the project, along with assistant Dean Bills with some CM work on the project. I'm excited about the amphitheater. Once again, every time I hear of an amphitheater or seen in other parks, it's pretty much a concrete platform and it's covered. But this one focuses more on the entertainers and people who's going to be on stage. Now they have the luxuries of their own dressing rooms, their own showers, a multi-purpose room on the back end, even a catering kitchen. So now whenever they come and we're trying to bring entertainment into Lexington and we say we have an amphitheater, first we could say we have private showers, right? Because initially everybody thinks, do I need to bring my trailer? Also, they're allowed to bring their equipment around the park on trucks and actually come back to the back of the amphitheater onto a loading dock. So the amphitheater is constructed to where it's more than just an amphitheater to house community events. It's more to bring more entertainment, outside entertainment, which bringing outside entertainment brings more people to the park and just enjoy the park overall. The adults can come to the park and send the kids off in the water park while they enjoy good concerts, right?
The right partner can make or break your development project. That's why Bowman's integrated services, from landscape architecture to planning and engineering, are trusted by the region's top developers. With deep roots in Lexington and the backing of a national network, Bowman has helped shape some of Central Kentucky's most iconic projects. They know the land, the process, and what it takes to get things built. Ready to move forward with confidence? Call William Hodges, regional leader, at 859-309-6501. Bowman, where vision meets precision. Learn more at bowman.com.
That's right.
Obviously, the park has been a long-standing project, has been going on for a little while. Was there a moment during the build when your team had to rethink an approach, or was there any challenges along the way?
Yeah, the good or bad, I hate to bring this up being a contractor, is rain, right? If y'all all know, we have had significant rain over the last probably 18 months to 24 months. And it's not that it's just consistent rain. When it rains, it rains. So fortunately enough, early fall, I believe it was last fall, there was a big rain that came through. And way the initial design, the water was supposed to go out into the green space out in front of the amphitheater and eventually drain out over a course of an hour. Well, that big rain came through and it was pooling. And we realized, if we're going to be able to have people on the Great Lawn, that this water has to get away. So fortunate enough, we realized that reconstructed to where the water is getting to the retention pond quicker. And now we don't have to worry about if we have a big rain prior to a major event that it's going to be a pond down in front of the amphitheater.
So along with an amphitheater, Donald, what's the recipe for great public spaces? What do you see here that other cities have that create that quality of life?
I mean, as complicated as they are, the recipe's usually pretty simple. It's to connect people and to design something with that intention in mind at all stages. And you can tell they've done that at Gatton Park, like we were just talking about. Like, the stage is designed with a specific use. It's not an amphitheater attached to a park or a park attached to an amphitheater. It is an amphitheater inside of the park. It's all integrated together. So I think you have to talk about design first and the intentionality behind that. And then that goes to how you're going to program the park and the inclusivity of it. Again, it's not, hey, we have a park side over here for concert goer, or an amphitheater over here for concert goers, and a park over here for everybody else. It's all together, designed together. And what we can do programmatically is inclusive that way because of that. And then we want to connect people to themselves, to nature, to each other. So we've done a huge investment in that as well too. So I think those are really the recipes. The last most important recipe is going to be that community investment piece. And obviously there's the monetary investment piece that's happened. It's great. It's going to continue to happen. But it's the non-monetary piece that I think they've done such a good job with, and we've got to continue to do. It's the time, the effort, the energy that the public's going to put into the space. That's how these spaces are successful. They have to be used to death. That is the whole intention of them and the whole way that they're successful. And I think the design here has really achieved that.
Craftsman Contractors is Central Kentucky's one-stop shop for roofing, windows, siding, and gutters. CraftsmanContractors.com/contact us will get you straight to the form you need so that their team will get in touch about your project. Or just text Steven at 859-246-0108. When they finish your project of windows, siding, gutters, or roofing, you'll see what they mean when they say we build with integrity.
Donald, I met Donald for the first time 15 minutes ago, but I did do research on him before. He does have a website. If you want to look up his website, it was very helpful in doing research. But Donald has been a part of some pretty big projects in some cities that are very noteworthy. What lessons along the way do you feel like you took from those projects that you can feel like you can apply to Lexington?
I think to kind of keep going with what I was going with is, I think we're in this weird parks as brand eras. Everything's a brand now. Parks certainly are. They're not just these kind of forgotten, basic, functional spaces. It's not a green space you just kind of go to anymore that serves a very small community. They're these large brands that are defining an experience for an entire community. So we really have to kind of embrace that and remember that. We've got to... But like any other brand, they evolve day to day. So we're going to evolve past this initial use in the first year, in the first 5 years. And we have to keep evolving with the experience we design for people to keep that going. And if you look at Discovery Green in Houston, they've been going for 20 years. They kind of really defined what a downtown park can really be in America. There was the High Line, but a gathering place, an outdoor space. They really defined that, and they've been going for 20 years, and they have 1 million people a year, and that's never gone down. But that's because they've changed their programming, they've kept their branding going. I've also worked for other projects that didn't quite grasp that or didn't quite figure it out yet. And they kind of went the other way. They became static brands instead of that dynamic brand that kind of continued to grow. And when they became static, so did their funding. So did that community investment piece I mentioned earlier. People weren't willing to engage and put that energy in, so the programming declined. And then overall, the park is just kind of there now. It's not what it could have been. The dream wasn't fully realized. And now they've got to go find a way to reinvigorate that brand and resell that brand. We can't get there. We want to be Gatton Park from day one, a dynamic brand all the way through. So I think that's the lesson I bring, is we're not just a park. We are a full brand, a full experience. We have to kind of treat like a living, breathing entity.
Hey.
Nature agrees too.
Here's Nate.
So David, you get to have X-ray vision, where you saw where we're at, you see submittals come in, you've seen pay apps, you see so much about the project. What are you most excited for?
I'm going to pull a tad bit of a John Calipari here, and I'm going to answer that question by telling a story that has no relevance to the question. And I'm going to do it because I think everybody will appreciate it, especially the developers in the room. We've been working on this park since 2018, and Jim Gray called us back in 2018 and asked us to put a price on a conceptual design for this park. He was scared at the time, because he didn't have Ben on his team yet, that it was going to, that $55 million was way too much for a park in Lexington to be privately funded. So we sat down with our team and worked through the conceptual drawings, and we came back and we were super excited because we had gotten the park down to $35 million. That was a savings of $20 million. So we were really proud of ourselves at the time. And we sat down, we gave this really great presentation, we shared with them what they needed to do to get the scope down. Well, afterwards, and we were super proud of ourselves, Jim looked at us and said, you know what? I don't think 35 million is a good number either. Can you work on getting it down to 25 million? So we went back to the drawing board, worked our tails off for another 4 or 5 weeks, and came back with another version and got it to 25. And at the very last minute before we walked out of the room, he goes, man, I'm starting to think. And this was before Ben was on. 18 million sounds like a better number. So we spent the first 12 months trying to figure out how to get it to 18 million. And thank goodness they hired Ben shortly after. And Ben was able to do an extraordinary job, and he found more money. So we went back. We got really close to getting back to the original scope of work of the park. And that's when, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with this firm, but Sasaki out of Boston is a world-class landscape architect firm that specializes in parks all over the world. And they made a great decision to hire them on this park. And we were hired about the same time. And I think that was 2020 or the very end of 2020. And they just did a beautiful job. And I think what our guys are, the team that we have is so proud of, is that it's actually starting to look like the drawings. And you kind of see this thing come to life. And it's really something to be proud of. So,
DevelopLex is also sponsored by Community Trust Bank. Hi there, this is Cam Dacey, Commercial Loan Officer at Community Trust Bank and avid DevelopLex and Middle Tech podcast listener. Community Trust offers a wide variety of home loans, commercial loans, and small business loans to suit your financial needs, as well as mobile banking, internet banking, and bill pay. Their friendly and professional staff would love to assist you at one of their 6 Lexington locations. Community Trust Bank is committed to building communities built on trust. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, subject to credit approval.
That's awesome. I do wish part of your answer was saying something about us being built for March, like California.
Yeah, right.
So I like the comment that Ben made earlier of it is it's morbid in a sense, but there is a part of a little bit of pride of we do want to build a structure that goes a lot farther than any of us will in our life. How do you actually build something, David, that will be there for a very long time? How do you approach thinking of a public space that needs to be long-standing in Lexington?
Yeah, so there's a lot that's not seen out there that the engineers like Strand and Sasaki, based on their experience, put in the drawings and the specifications. We brought in and handmade all of the dirt that you see in that park. You could have come with the logic solution of, we do a pretty good job of growing grass in Kentucky. Why do you have to make your own dirt? But it is made for a park in high traffic. It's a little bit different. It's more like a sports field. So a lot of work went into that in the underground. A lot of work went into how do you keep the trees and the bushes and the rest of the living parts of the park alive, not just to get the park open, but for 10, 20 years down the road. And so a lot of thought went into that. And it's our job, our responsibility as the construction manager to make sure that all the subcontractors are following closely those recommendations.
I am curious the logistics there, and maybe a group question for both David and Bishop. What do your days actually look like trying to support the folks that you have working for you in the field? What does that look like somewhat day to day? I'm sure it varies, but try.
From our standpoint, I know Bishop's the same. It's just full support. All these folks, if you look out there today, we still have crew out there, and it's a 95-degree day. They've been there since 6 o'clock. They work on almost 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So the last 3 or 4 months, they've been on 6-day weeks. And so we're just there to make sure that train doesn't stop. So any support that we can give that team, because they're in the trenches, they're the ones that are making it look good. They're the ones that are coordinating. They're the ones that are solving all the major problems. to get them the support they need to make sure that the schedule's met.
So, what kind of programming do we get to look forward to, Donald?
The possibilities are endless. But I mean, today, as recently as today, we put together the fall programming season, so really excited about that. We've got everything from weekly fitness classes to Saturday morning STEAM programming for the whole family to farmers markets and black soil markets, and we've got a really exciting kind of community fall festival movie series we're coming up with. I don't think you can mention our programming without mentioning the 5,000 person concert venue. So yesterday we announced we've got the Beach Boys as a concert there too, so that's super exciting for the first of many concerts that will be announced. And then, without spoiling too much, I think we have a really cool winter holiday festival happening. It'll be a multi-weekend festival that's like, I don't think anything Lexington's ever seen before. So I think that's going to be really cool, full of art and vendors, and really something you're going to want to come to like all 20 of the nights it's available. So I'm really excited about that. And then also working with local community partners for rentals or partnership events to really bring in some of those intergenerational festivals and food festivals and things like that. So the park is physically going to be activated, it feels like every single day for the first 5 months, which is really super exciting. And then also those like day-to-day passive programming opportunities, a reading room, lawn games, the playground, the splash pad, all of that is like, that's programming every single day. And also, I think we'd be remiss if we don't mention what our biggest program, which is probably our operations of the park every day. We're inheriting a beautiful space that has to be operated every day. It's our most complex, multifaceted program where we have to worry about safety, environmental stewardship, all of that every day just to welcome you guys and to have the perfect, like high quality, first-rate experience. And I think that's our first and most important program, and then all the rest of it's just icing on the cake.
So we have a question. Probably it's going to be a Donald question. Okay. And this is Bennett Zimmerman. Will you ask it?
Yeah. Yes.
What are you curious about? About the slide?
Yeah.
Have you gone down the slide yet? And when can Bennett?
They have not let me go down the slide yet. They're also making me wait till opening day. But I'll let you go in front of me that day. You can go at least before I can. But it'll be open at noon on August 23rd.
Deal?
Yeah, 27-foot slide, and so we'll make sure you get in there, bud.
All right, kind of as we end today, I'm gonna lob out a group question. Answer as you see fit. It's a year from today. Hopefully, it's not 95 degrees outside. Feels like 101. What would the picturesque day look like in the park?
One of the big exciting things I'm excited about is with the park. I'm a native of Lexington, born here, lived here most of my life, but I had the fortune of go away for a little bit. And on a day, a year from now, I just hope to see the park is full. I remember being in Columbus, Ohio, and Cincinnati. If you was not in the park on a day-to-day by 5 o'clock, you was not finding a parking spot. You was not going to play a ball game. You was not going to do yard yoga. You was not going to do all types of stuff. I mean, it was just crowded. And I don't want it to sound bad. It's just people were enjoying the park. So I hope from a year now, I hope to see to the point to where everybody, like you said, Ben, is networking to the point because you see somebody every day walking the same trail as you. You see somebody every day cycling the same trail as you. So that's what I'm excited to see. I know my daughter's going to be bugging me about being in the splash pad all day, and she's going to wait till she gets wrinkles and says she got to go home like little man here. But that's what I envision a year from now.
Good deal. Well, thank you all for your contributions to making Lexington a great American city that people want to live in.